happening tonight in Edmonton.
Alberta's premier faces calls to step down.
It's a major escalation.
Will the calls undermine the premier's messaging during the pandemic, and is the attempt to unite the right over? We find that out.
Doing so is very rare in Canada under the criminal code.
This swastika flag hanging at a central Alberta home has reportedly come down, but does it fit the definition of hate speech under Canada's criminal code?
Even those who recover from COVID-19 sometimes have long-term symptoms.
We'll be COVID-free one day soon.
An Edmonton clinic is doing what they can to help.
This is City News Everywhere.
Alberta Premier Jason Kenney could be facing a leadership crisis after a call from a senior caucus backbencher to resign. MLA Todd Loewen says he no longer has confidence in Kenney's leadership and blames the premier for caucus dysfunction. In an open letter posted to Facebook, the MLA for Central Peace Notley says he's also resigning as chair of the UCP caucus in order to freely speak his mind. Loewen says unity within the party is falling apart, writing, "I no longer believe the caucus can function," adding Kenney needs to step down in order to repair the break and allow the province to move forward. "We did not unite around blind loyalty to one man." He also accuses the premier of not listening to caucus members and failing on large issues such as going to war with doctors over pay and work conditions. Then, before 9 a.m., another MLA endorsing Loewen's call, saying he, along with many of their colleagues, share the same frustration. But there was a major issue missing from the letter: any mention of COVID.
And I think that was a deliberate strategy, that if they had mentioned COVID, then the narrative would be, see, these are people upset with the COVID restrictions. But COVID obviously is in the background here.
Loewen is one of 18 UCP members to sign a letter pushing back against the government's health restrictions. But the question remains, is the attempt to unite the right in Alberta over? While that might be too early to answer, this political expert points to Alberta's history as proof that support from within the caucus matters.
But I can't imagine how you have a situation where Jason Kenney stays and Todd Loewen stays in caucus. You can't have someone who has called for your resignation to stay part of the governing caucus. So something has to break here.
Meanwhile, federal Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole seemingly defending Kenney's leadership and instead blaming the feds for his party's revolt.
Premier Kenney, like all of our premiers, have been doing yeoman service in the absence of leadership from Ottawa.
The last